Hello, Genevieve. Namons here. And I don't know if you know, but looks like Marvel's Avengers is having some player count issues. So we're just going to go into that. This is a thread that started about 3 days ago with people reporting the numbers are down. I'm just going to review the original article, and then we're going to have a response from EA, not EA, Crystal Dynamics, about this. So let's get into it. There's a reason I said EA, and I'll get to that in a second. So, Marvel's Avengers low player count on PC is causing matchmaking issues. Marvel's Avengers has a falling player count, especially on PC, which is causing some severe matchmaking issues for those still playing. Now, when Marvel's Avengers was released, players generally fell on the spectrum between hyped and prematurely disappointed. For some, the game had delivered on its hype, and a few have even said the defenders could use the Marvel Avengers treatment. Hoy. For many others, however, the hype has dissipated. Marvel's Avengers suffers from several of the same problems that other live services games have had. The game missions are geared towards grinding for loot for other players, with other players, sound familiar yet? Which is relying on matchmaking service to create a party, sounding familiar yet? Unfortunately, loop has its problems and are becoming more pronounced as the players drop the game. Are we sounding familiar yet? So, this is very much what happened with Anthem. They built this game that was very much, they even had the Iron Man style way of transporting themselves through the world, but it was just a loot grind for stuff that they did not care about, and bullet spongy characters, which things like that was happening. So people lost interest quickly. It became impossible to matchmake, do any matchmaking with that as it got worse. So yeah, looks like Marvel's Avengers is going the same route. Let's continue on and read about the disgruntled nature of the response. Okay. Many players are disgruntled over the lack of information Crystal Dynamics has shared about the Avengers going forward. Several additions on its roadmap have been pushed back, and key issues with the game have not been addressed. While a patch last month addressed over 1,000 issues, the game still has fundamental problems which have contributed to a steadily declining player base, with PC users at times dipping below 1,000 according to a report by Forbes. As a result, matchmaking has had trouble putting together teams for post-story missions. So yeah, there was a whole thing, this big deal. They were so proud of themselves for fixing 1,000 issues with this latest patch. It's like, guys, that's not a thing to be proud about. That's not something to be happy about that you have that much to fix in the game. This game should have come out when it did. Now, of course, they pressed right up against the release of the new consoles, so I'm sure that's probably part of the reason why they tried to get it out as soon as they could, and that's why they had that really short beta. Like I think it was literally like a 1 week closed beta with a specific console, and then it expanded further to a full open beta 2 weeks after that. So, anyways, let's go on. I want to get to a specific part before we discuss what's going on with the game. While other people are not essential for multiplayer, many prefer real players to AI partners. The lack of players on Marvel's Avengers is compounded by multiplayer restrictions. Each player is required to be a different hero, but players pick their hero before matchmaking starts. This extends the process further as 4 different heroes need to be found to start a single mission. Many players gravitate towards characters like Kamala Khan and the Hulk, rather than heroes like Iron Man. The most popular Avengers rarely see play due to this restriction. That is the main fault with this game right now. If you had an Overwatch type of setup where you basically were having people group up and then pick a character, like it's mad rush to pick which one you're going to be, it wouldn't discourage. It would at least allow games to match up. So if for some reason somebody didn't like what happened and dropped out, an AI player would still slip in, or AI partner would still slip in to cover the whatever hole was left behind. So but they didn't do that, and so this is part of the reason why things are falling apart so quickly. The game's player base is falling on PlayStation as well, though it's uncertain as if it's as severe as the drop on PC. Yeah, so basically what I was going to talk about next was there's well, let's look at the Steam charts for this, because this is where it's showing off the big deal. You have started at 28,000, it's now down to 2,000, and here's the dip we're talking about. This is just from the last month, and it's gone from, even the highest in the last month was only been like 15,000, and it's dropped all the way. Like obviously there's that weird spike, but here we are. It's getting down to like 11,972, and then almost below 1,000, 939. It's been up and down. And it's definitely been garnered. It's definitely been during the week that's been hurting really bad. But yeah, so here's the chart over the whole period, and it's going to almost nothing. And this is part of the problem here. There's also been an issue. Let's look at the PlayStation total player count, and it's gone up 1.2 million in the last month, but we only have only half of that, just barely over half that have gotten a trophy in the last month. So you have people have you have 3,000 accounts that are nothing but Avengers. But anyways, so this has been a big dip. They're barely retaining 50% of the audience there, even though the player count total's gone up. Only a certain number have been coming back in the last month. So even though they have that many, that's just been building up. Sounds like a big chunk of their initial group didn't come back then, if that's the case. They've been adding that many, but then half of that have not come back and only earned one trophy in the last month. So this is definitely an indication that the numbers are going way down. And this is why this came up. This is the thing where this is for discussion, but that was 3 days ago. This is today, either that or last night. Let's see when this happened. This is a discussion that Mike Fahy at Kotaku reached out to Crystal Dynamics to get a response from lack of new content and diminishing player base. Studio head Scot Amos, the studio head, actually responded. He responded back with typical response. He talked about some new missions along with some new story content. The biggest news was upcoming characters coming to the game, Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, Marvel's 2 Hawkeyes. But of course, he didn't provide any specifics when they would get this content. So here's the actual response that they say is a political response. I just wanted to go over it really quickly, just to kind of show you guys what they're talking about. And here it is. To our players, every day we fight to make the best game possible for our community. We have a great community management team at Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix who funnel all of your concerns, suggestions, and feedback into the development team daily. We are listening. We are making fixes, improvements, and additions as fast as we can safely can to make Marvel's Avengers a game we all aspire it to be. As we have a number of new content pieces coming in the weeks ahead, including a totally new Warzone mission type called Tachyon Rifts, a new outpost that's a jumping off point for new story missions in the future, and AIM's Cloning Lab, which requires a coordinated high-level group of 4 players to beat the new top-end loot rewards for finishing it. With 2 new top-end loot rewards for finishing it. And in each of these updates, we do tuning and bug fixing to enhance the overall experience. In addition, we've announced 2 new heroes coming in the near future, Kate Bishop in Operation Taking Aim, and after that, the double feature operation starring Clint Barton. This is the 2 Hawkeyes we mentioned in the last war table. These new operations pick right up from where the main Reassemble campaign ended in the core game and will propel the overall world story forward with new mysteries and villains, as well as new multiplayer content. And so this is what was talked about in the beginning, where they were discussing how they were going to basically do the Reassemble campaign. Once that was after that, each new DLC, quote-unquote, character that they bring in would have their own kind of storyline that would go past that, would extend the story past what happened in that core campaign. And they've been taking too long to bring it out, to be honest. It's been over a month since the game dropped, and nothing. So let's talk about what he says here. Lastly, we will continue to add new content to the game in the coming months as we address issues and overall game balance, including loot distribution and quality of life features everyone is clamoring for to improve our day-to-day experience, from accessibility to co-op communication tools to balancing the economy. Oh boy. We're confident that we'll see PC players as well as those in Xbox One and PlayStation 4 return to the game as we add exciting new late-game content and demonstrate that we continue to focus on improving the game. We will have more information and details about the very near content drops in a blog scheduled for next week, and we have new community communication initiatives coming soon to even more directly share fun and useful information with you. Fun and useful? Can't it just be useful? Can't it just be fun? Okay, I'm riffing now, but you know, this is what it is. Basically saying, I know you're bored, but we're gonna bring it back soon. We're gonna bring more stuff soon, guys. You gotta come check it out. So yeah, this is where we're at with this. I just want to get this out there because it's like it's been over a month, and apparently it looks like all they've done is a bug patch. They've done a day 90 bug patch or something. They have not fixed the game. They are continuing to lag behind on getting DLC out because of that. This is very much an Anthem situation, and that's basically what these guys get back to here, talking about this stuff. It might not be so bad if there's more on the horizon for Marvel Avengers, but little is certain as of this writing. Players have expressed a disinterest in grinding for pointless loot, and there's little news on Hawkeye's DLC, which has no solid release date. Some say Avengers is starting to look like Anthem. That's not a comparison any live service title wants. Straight up. This is straight up what's happening. Not only do they have to get that content out soon, they have to get it out, and it has to be good. It has to be very engaging. It has to provide high-end loot. It has to provide a reason for people to play the game, people to come back to the game. And DLC ain't it, bro. I mean, I get that they want to get all these different characters out and they're adding story, but it's going to come in such slow drips. There's literally like one of each type of mission, like a solo versus a co-op with each of these characters apparently, and only one of them story based. So it's going to be a whole situation where how fast can you get them out and how good are they going to be? But yeah, what do you think about this whole situation that's showing up with Avengers? Do you think it's kind of weird that basically they're coming back and saying, "Hey guys, I know you're bored. New content's on the way. I swear, I swear." Or do you think there's just going to be a situation where we're going to be looking at this slowly petering off into nothing and finding they don't have a player base to help test and improve their game? Let me know in the comments below. And if you did like this content, please like the video. If you do enjoy this type of content, subscribe to the channel, share it around with all your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.